So when does the winning team actually get to keep the trophy? And if they do, is it the real one or just the replica? What materials are these originals and replicas even made from? In this video, we're diving into the top 10 most prestigious football trophies in the world and breaking down the rules that govern how they're handled. For example, some trophies have the names of winning teams engraved on them, right? But what happens when there's no more space left? If you're as curious as I am, stick around because I've got all the answers to your questions and more. It's officially called the Copa de la Liga, and it's crafted from sterling silver and mounted on marble. Pretty grand, right? But here's the catch. When a team wins it, they don't actually get to keep the original. What really happens is this. The champions borrow the official trophy for their celebrations, and then later, the league gives them a full-sized, silver-plated replica to put in their cabinet. But the real one always goes back to La Liga. Now, there's a special rule for the serial winners. If a club manages to win 5 league titles in a row, or 10 in total, they're awarded what's called a copia de honor, basically a permanent version of the trophy that they get to keep forever. That's why clubs like Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Atletico Madrid each have their own special editions. But the coolest part about the La Liga trophy is how it's presented. Unlike the Premier League, where the trophy is lifted right after the final game, La Liga makes you wait. The official trophy is only handed over at the champion's first home game of the following season, turning it into a big celebration with their fans. The base of the original trophy is engraved with the names of every champion, and when they eventually run out of space, they don't scrap the trophy, they just replace the base with a new one, and the old engraved base gets stored in La Liga's archives. The trophy itself is made of 18-karat gold, stands about 36 centimeters tall, weighs over 6 kilograms, and rests on a base of green malachite. Sounds priceless, right? Well, that's because it is, and FIFA makes sure the original never actually leaves their hands. See, back in the day, there was the Jules Rimet Trophy. Brazil tried to keep it forever after winning it 3 times. But with the current World Cup trophy, introduced in 1974, that's not possible. No team can ever win it outright. The original always stays with FIFA. So what do the winners actually get? They're handed a full-size replica, but here's the twist. It's not solid gold. It's made of gold-plated bronze. It looks identical, but it's nowhere near as valuable. Now here's where it gets interesting. Every time a nation wins the World Cup, their name is engraved on the bottom of the original trophy. There's enough space for winners until 2038. After that, FIFA will have to make a choice. Redesign the base, or start an entirely new version of history. What do you think they'll do? Drop it in the comments and we will see if you were right. Believe it or not just anyone can touch the original trophy. The rules are strict. Only FIFA officials, heads of state, and past World Cup winners, players and coaches are allowed to hold it. Because it's so valuable, the trophy travels with serious security during the World Cup trophy tours. It's carried in a custom case, constantly guarded, and treated like a treasure fit for royalty. And all that protection comes from hard lessons in the past. In 1966, just before the World Cup in England, the Jules Rimet trophy we were speaking of earlier was actually stolen while on display in London. A week later, a dog named Pickles found it wrapped in newspaper under a hedge in South London. Pickles instantly became a national hero. But Brazil's story was much darker. After they earned the right to keep the Jules Rimet in 1970, disaster struck. Just 13 years later, the trophy was stolen from a glass case in Rio de Janeiro. It was never recovered, and most believe it was melted down for its gold value. That's why FIFA tightened the rules with the modern trophy. No team will ever own it, the original never leaves FIFA's possession, and only replicas are given to the champions. Think of this trophy as the Champions League of South America. This work of art is crafted from sterling silver, topped with the silver footballer, and mounted on a solid wooden base. So when a team wins this prize, they don't actually get to keep the original. The real trophy always stays with CONMEBOL, South America's governing body. What the champions do get is a full-sized replica, usually silver-plated, which they can keep forever.
But some clubs go the extra mile to commission extra replicas for the museum, training ground, or even as gifts for sponsors. Now with this trophy, every champion's name is engraved directly into a silver plate on the base. And when space begins to run out, CONMEBOL doesn't retire it. Instead, they just extend the wooden base, adding new silver plaques and making the trophy taller and taller. So when an older base gets too full or unstable, it isn't discarded. It's carefully preserved in CONMEBOL's archives like a piece of history. There is one thing to note though, only one club has ever been given the original Copa Libertadores trophy permanently. Back in the early days, the rule was simple: win it 3 times in a row and the trophy was yours forever. Independiente pulled that off between 1972 and 1974, making them the only team to actually own the real cup. After that, CONMEBOL changed the rules, so today, no matter how many times you win, all you get is a replica. Do you think this is fair?
This is arguably the most coveted league prize in football today. Most fans know it's crafted from sterling silver with a striking malachite base. But here's the first mystery. Many people have no idea that this trophy actually has an identical twin. Yes, there are 2 official Premier League trophies. Let me explain briefly why that is the case. On the final day of the season, if the title race is still alive in more than one stadium, one trophy is sent to each ground. That way, the moment the final whistle blows, the champions can lift it straight away. No delays, no waiting. This is what makes the Premier League unique. No other league in world football uses identical twin trophies. What do you think? Is this a smart choice or just an overkill? Now, unlike some of the other trophies I've told you about, the Premier League does allow the winners to keep the original trophy, at least until the end of the following season. When it's returned, the league gives them a replica. But this isn't a smaller or cheaper version. It's an identical twin. Same weight, same materials, same presence. A permanent piece of football history for the club's museum. Every year, the champions' names are also engraved on the base of the original trophy. And when the base finally runs out of space, it's not discarded. Instead, it's carefully retired into the league's archives, and a brand new base is created to carry the story forward. So the trophy for the Euros is also known as the Henri Delany Trophy. It's the ultimate prize for national teams across Europe. It's made of sterling silver, but the one you see players holding at the final? That's not the original. Yes, the real trophy is kept locked away at UEFA's headquarters. What the winners actually get is a full-size silver-plated replica. It looks identical, same shine, same weight, perfect for celebrations and the victory parade, but it's never the real crown. The reason why they do this is to reduce the risk of loss, theft, or damage, which is a big issue considering its historical value. The original cup has every winner's name engraved on it since the very first tournament back in 1960. The replica a team takes home only shows that nation's own victory. Even giants like Germany and Spain with multiple wins never get their hands on the true original. UEFA never lets it leave their care. And in 2008, they actually gave the trophy a little makeover. They made it a bit taller and heavier, got rid of the old marble base, and gave it a cleaner design. Now, the winners' names are carved straight into the back of the cup. But here's the thing. One day, that space is gonna run out. So what happens then? Do they expand the engraving area, redesign it, or come up with something completely new? Honestly, I'm curious as you are. What do you think is the most likely thing they will do?
The FA Cup is the oldest national competition in football history, and its trophy remains one of the most iconic in the game. It's contested by clubs from every level of English football, from Premier League giants to lower league and even non-league teams. The current cup is crafted from solid sterling silver, standing over 60 centimeters tall and weighing about 6.3 kilograms. At the final, the winners are handed the original trophy, but because it's too valuable to risk, they later celebrate with a silver-plated replica. It looks identical to the real thing, only lighter and easier to carry during the victory parade. To this day, there have been 5 iterations of the FA Cup trophy. The very first trophy was stolen in Birmingham and never recovered. Since then, new versions have been crafted and retired, but the Ampicede, the design introduced in 1911, is still the one we see today. The original trophy always remains the property of the Football Association. The champions of the season only get to keep it until the next final. But clubs are permitted to commission their own replicas at the FA's approval. And each winner also receives a 3/4 size replica to keep forever in their trophy cabinet. It's a shiny gold-plated trophy, the biggest prize in African football that some countries got to keep forever, while others will never get that bragging right. This is why we ended up here. When a team wins the Africa Cup of Nations now, they only receive a full-size replica to celebrate with, while the real trophy always stays safe with CAF, the Confederation of African Football. AFCON has actually had 3 official trophies since it began in 1957. The Abdelaziz Abdallah Salem Trophy, which was the first, was kept permanently by Ghana in 1978, after their 3rd triumph. The second was the Trophy of African Unity. This went to Cameroon in 2000 after their 3rd win. The current design, the gold-plated version, was introduced in 2002, but this time CAF changed the rules. No matter how many times you win it, the original never leaves their hands. Instead, every winning nation's name gets engraved on the base of the original. Of course, we know the space won't last forever. At the current rate, the base will probably run out of room somewhere between 2045 and 2050. When that happens, CAF will have to decide. Either add more space to the base or retire it and introduce a brand new design while still keeping the old one safe. FIFA Club World Cup. Just like the name suggests, this is the trophy for the best club in the world. You've probably seen it, that globe-shaped design, gold-plated with a solid marble base. With this trophy also, no matter how many times a club wins it, they never get to keep the original. Instead, the champions are given a full-size gold-plated replica. It comes engraved with their name, the year they won. At first glance, it looks identical to the real thing, only a little lighter. But FIFA has strict rules. Clubs can't sell it, can't alter it, and can't hand it over. And if it's ever lost or damaged, the only way to get a replacement is through FIFA's approval. What makes the original trophy distinct is the fact that it holds the engravings of every single club that's ever lifted it, like a living history book of world football carved into metal and stone. So, which club do you think will etch their name onto its next Club World Cup? Some people call it the big ears because of those massive handles. This trophy is actually made of pure sterling silver and stands about 73 centimeters tall. Before 2009, if a club won it 5 times overall or 3 times in a row, they got to keep the original trophy forever. That's why clubs like Liverpool and Real Madrid still have theirs proudly on display. But the rule changed after 2009. UEFA decided the original would never leave their headquarters in Switzerland again. From then on, whenever a team wins, they only receive a full-sized silver replica to take home. And don't worry, you'll find out why UEFA made that decision in a bit. The replicas themselves are almost indistinguishable from the real thing. Same size, same weight, same sterling silver. Clubs can even order smaller commemorative versions if they want, but they have to cover the cost themselves, and UEFA has to approve the design so nobody mistakes them for the real trophy. Now, the real trophy only appears at official UEFA events, sponsor showcases, or competition draws. Thanks for coming on this journey with me. If you enjoyed this story, we've got plenty more on the channel. Go check them out. And remember, this is Vector Ball, where every kick has a story.